Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Phins News. Today we're going to be discussing the Atlanta Falcons loss as well as the state of the Miami Dolphins after this loss. So let's just get right into it. We're on a 6-game losing streak now. We just lost to the Atlanta Falcons 30-28 by a last-second field goal for back-to-back weeks. Just two crushing defeats against the bottom feeders of the league, the Jacksonville Jaguars first, and now we just lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Nobody's seen this record coming, myself included, at the beginning of the year. I thought this team was going to improve from a 10-win season the year prior, and we're just going to keep moving in the right direction. And a lot of us was completely off base. I mean, you see week in and week out our team play undisciplined football, get bad penalties in the worst possible time, our QB play not being good enough, and us just coming up short week in and week out. And something has to change, man. I mean, Tua had a decent game. All these Tua fans are saying how, look, he threw for 4 touchdowns. Look at all the yardage he had. But did you see the 2 interceptions he threw? They cost us the game. There's no way to sugarcoat it. People want to say, "Oh yeah, but he came back and you see him lead those 2 drives when we were down after those interceptions and actually took the lead 28-27." But why isn't anyone saying, did you look at the defense? Even though they gave up that last second field goal to lose, did you see them make consecutive stops when our offense needed it and we kept stalling? I mean, did you see the turnovers that our defense gave us just to put us in the position to try to come back and win that game? And then, not to mention, right when Xavier Howard makes that ridiculous play, and we're already in field goal range, we're only down 6. And what does Tua do on the very next play? It's not like they got a first down and kept our defense off the field. The very next play, he throws an interception, and people say, oh, well, it's because the line got pushed back into him. Then just take the sack, man. Take the sack and live to fight another day. It's first down. You're going to get sacked for what, like a 3-yard loss? So it's 2nd and 13. And instead, you throw an interception, which was damn near a pick six. I mean, they got it down to what, the 13, 14-yard line? Already in the red zone, ready to score. Right when our defense just got the ball back. And then what happened? They put up points. I mean, that not only gave them points, that took away a for sure at least field goal attempt and hopefully a touchdown if our offense could move the ball some. So that did not only give them points, it took points away from us. And then at the beginning of the game, when we were in the red zone and Tua throws that little out to, who was it, Shaheen? He was double covered. The throw should have, if you look at the film, there was underneath receiver, I believe it was Waddle, that was wide open on a little crossing route. Instead, he wanted to throw that out when he was double covered. I can see if he kind of threw it high where the Shaheen could have jumped up and caught it, but it was a little low. That play should have probably been a play that Gasecki ran, not Shaheen, first of all. So that's on the coaches. So that's not all on Tua, but he shouldn't have made that throw. He was reading that throw from the get. He didn't even read the field. He just said, took 2 steps. Okay, I'm throwing to Shaheen. He needs to read the field better. That's the issue. Yes, I understand he came back and led the team and we got the ball and scored and we were up by 1 and then the defense gave up the last second field goal. But we can't be sitting here and blaming the defense for this loss. They have some part of the loss, but the majority of the loss, I'm going to tell you right now, is Tua. At least 60% of the 100% loss. I mean, he threw 2 of the most crucial interceptions you'll see in a game. Usually in this game, the quarterbacks have about 3 to 5 minute windows to win a game week in and week out. And those 2 plays and those 2 crucial moments cost us the game. A high majority of the game. And I'll tell you that right now. I mean, it just, things have to change with this team, man. We've been dealing with this for over 20 plus years, ever since Dan Marino retired. We already don't have for sure things on this whole roster. It's time to go get Watson. It's now or never. The NFL trade deadline's coming up on November 2nd. So I'm looking for Watson to be here before that, or we're not going to get him. And at this point, the way the organization has been since I've been watching and following this team, I'm starting to lose confidence that we're even going to go out and get Watson. I think there's going to be suitors that fall in line like the Carolina Panthers that are having issues with Sam Darnold now when they thought he was the guy at first, that they're going to get in the mix. And from all reports, Deshaun Watson won't veto a trade to Carolina. And they have assets to go get Watson right now. So, man, it's not looking good for the Dolphins at this point. I mean, I still don't see any discipline. I mean, I talked about it in my previous shows. How do we go from the most disciplined team in the NFL last year, which won us games week in and week out, to the most undisciplined team? How does that change in 1 year when you pretty much have the same team? The only thing I can attest it to, honestly, is the leadership that has left the locker room. Everyone wanted to bag on Kyle Van Noy. They wanted to bag on Bobby McCain last year, but that has to be some reason why we have these dumb penalties in the worst times, and a lot of it's on defense with roughing the passer calls, holding on third down, giving teams automatic first downs. I mean, not a lot of people talk about the leadership that we lost just this year, and I get it. We wanted to go younger. We wanted to get a younger safety, and I still think Javon Holland's going to be a baller in this league. He's just young. He's going through growing pains, but he shows flashes, man. Did you see that hit he laid on? I believe it was Pitts maybe down the seam when it was going to be a big play, and he just jarred that thing out. He's going to be the truth, man. You just got to give him another year or so. But you just see the flashes. You see it already. He's going to be good. He just has to go through some growing pains. I think we're not using Jalen Phillips in the way we should be. I'm sick of seeing week in and week out we using Phillips in zone coverage. He needs to have his hand down in the dirt, and he needs to get off their quarterback every play. He doesn't need to be in coverage. The same thing with Van Ginkel. We've seen enough out of him. We've seen enough. Every time I've seen him in coverage, it's a boneheaded play. He's not a good coverage linebacker. He needs to be rushing the passer or get him off the field. He has to go. I mean, he's not played well all year, and that was a guy that they thought were going to be huge improvements. That's why we got rid of Kyle Van Noy, because we thought he was going to replace him and he was going to be a better fit for us, and obviously it's not working right now. Jerome Baker as well. We need something needs to change in him. We paid him all that money in the off season, and he hasn't lived up to a dime of that. He stole the Dolphins' money. He's I mean, he's one of the worst performers of the year, I would say. I mean, he never can make a play in the backfield unless he's blitzing the quarterback. He's not a good run stopping linebacker, and we have him out there as the captain of the defense. He has to go, or he needs better coaching, and our player development need to be better, because we shouldn't have all these players on our team that are young, and it seems like from 1 year to the next they're regressing. Just like Austin Jackson. I mean, we had to move him to guard because he regressed so much. Robert Hunt, he's pretty solid, but he hasn't shown what he's shown his first year. We got Van Ginkel that they were willing to get rid of Kyle Van Noy for and lose that leadership in the locker room. And Van Ginkel hasn't shown anything. Jerome Baker, I think he's playing worse this year than he has the last 2 years. And that's saying something. Even though he has all these tackles, they're all 8, 10 yards down the field. He can chase down people, but he's not a run stuffing linebacker, which we need. His best thing that I feel he does is rush the passer, but he's a linebacker. That's all he does. He can blitz. He knows how to time blitz as well on occasions, and that's his only good quality. And we don't even use him like that all the time. That's the only thing he should be doing on the defense. I know, and then everyone wants to talk about how Xavier Howard got beat on that last drive deep, but why are we playing zone on the first play knowing that they just need a field goal to win? Why is our coach just having us in zone and leaving Kyle Pitts wide open in the seam to make, what, a 29-yard catch right off the bat? They're at the 50-yard line first play. And they had over 2 minutes to start the drive. It wasn't like there was 18 seconds left where we could just play a soft zone and let them catch everything in front. There was just, I believe, 2 minutes and 22 seconds still left. Every time our defense was in man-to-man, Matt Ryan in the offense couldn't move the ball at all. And we want to play these zones. Every time we played zone, Matt Ryan destroyed us. And that comes down to coaching. Just like I said in the last stream, our coaching has to get better. Our player development has to get better. Our front office has to get better. And then lastly, our players have to get better. But it's all collectively falling apart right now. And that's what I was worried about after I was thinking we can still salvage the season, but once we lost to the Colts, that's when I was worried. I thought that we had to have that game, even though it was early in the year. I was calling it a must-win because I felt that that would have steadied the tide and it could have built momentum and get a couple W's here and there. But once we lost to the Colts, the team, it just fell apart. It turned into what we are calling a dumpster fire now. So we need to go and get Watson, not to salvage this season. The season's done. What are we, 1-6? This year's over. For people still hoping we can get in the playoffs, forget about playoffs. The only way to salvage this season is to go out and finally get a franchise quarterback. A quarterback we can count in and week out to put up points, and we're not having to worry about that position every week. I mean, we go into games right now hoping Tua can play good. If we had Watson, we would go in knowing our quarterback on most weeks will be better than any quarterback that lines up against him. Right now, you can't say that. I mean, Tua. I know he's played okay these last 2 weeks, but he did lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars that were on a 20-game losing streak, and their head coach doesn't even want to be there anymore. He did lose to a rookie head coach last week, and one of the bottom defensive ranked teams in the league in the Atlanta Falcons, and we're only able to put up 28 points. Taylor Heinicke for the Redskins, and I'm sure all you can agree that you like Tua better than him. He put up more points than Tua did. So you can't just sit here and say that, oh, Tua did excellent and the defense lost this game. The team collectively lost, but Tua was the contributing factor mostly on why we lost that game. So man, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of coming on week in and week out and thinking we have a chance because our team isn't as bad as our record. It's just we have a couple things we need to correct, and we need to get life in that locker room and go out and get Watson, man. We just have to do it. Just getting Watson, even if he can't play this year, I guarantee you will uplift that locker room, and we can start getting some W's. I mean, like I said, the season's over. I mean, we can stop thinking playoffs, and let's just think about building for the future. And it starts with going out and getting Watson. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining this stream, and fins up, baby. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.